Hey, brother, you know what my favorite part of this Wednesday is?
What's that?
Hanging with you, man.
Well, you can't beat that. If that's your best part of your day, you might be in trouble, though. I got to
Well,
tell
that's
you.
true, but we hung out together in person finally after several months, a couple weeks ago or 3 or whatever it's been, and
We did. We
great
did. It
time.
was a great time. Lots of good ideas bounced off. And, I told you every single time I leave you, I have a lot of notes in my phone and lots of things that we plan on doing. And I think we got a pretty good little plan into 2027. And one of the things that we decided to do was put a public announcement out that we will have a Building Wins book by summer of 2027.
Did we decide? Were we drinking?
Well,
Oh.
you were. I was having Sprites by the
What the heck is wrong with
yeah.
me? Did I agree to that? I guess
You
I
did, and that's okay.
That's all right. I agree to stuff, and then I just, the what I found a lot, Wes, is I've become more of a yes man, and not from a standpoint of the typical yes man that nobody likes, right? The yes man that somebody says something, hey, you know what, we ought to do that. And in the years ago, I'd have said, yeah, I've never done that. I don't know if I want to do that. Now it's like, yeah, let's do it.
I can think of two different things. One of which, when we started our friendship, you didn't want to get the podcast going at a certain point, and I said, we're doing it.
You did.
We're going to do it when we said we were, because the worst one will be the first one. And we've done, I'd say pretty close to 300 since then.
Yep.
But the other thing was the exact place that we'd met previously at the same hotel bar. And the young lady gave us something that we have kind of taken as a mantra. And that was, you asked if the pie had ice cream on it. And instead of saying no, she looked at you and goes, it could.
Exactly.
And we love that. And
we did.
Yeah.
So the mantra is, it could.
It could. It
like
could.
it.
But
And
we
you know
will
what
have
we could
a
do?
we'll have a
Well,
Building Wins book out.
We will, and it's going to be fun. I can't wait. So we get going on it right now. We could continue to talk, or more importantly, we could go get James, because he's been on a massive workout fitness program, but he's still eating up all the chips and crap in the green room.
He is. We got to get him out of there because there's not much in there.
There's nothing there to start with, so he's already done. Let's go get
right.
James.
Let's get James.
All right, buddy. Boom! Say hey, sales right there.
What's up, man? What's up? It's good to see you.
You too, buddy. You too, man. It's just, it's nothing like two old sales jockeys getting back on the horse together, right?
Yeah, that's true. I think that I will do this until I die, man. This is like one of my favorite jobs that I've ever had. I've been doing it now since 2014. Inside sales anyway. Prior to that, I was door to door. So sitting in the AC, definitely better this time of year.
Yeah, exactly. A little warm there in Murrayville.
In Murrayville, Tennessee, also known as
Tennessee.
Maryville, Tennessee, population 30K, I think. Yeah, it's pretty warm here. I think we got up to like 92 in the last couple of weeks. It's been pretty average, about 92 or so.
Yeah.
The humidity's been a little lower this week so far, so that's been good.
That's been good. Yeah, I'm in, as we talked earlier, because you're a former Miamian. Would that be the right word?
That's
Miami?
right. I'm a Miamian, born and raised. I took
Yes.
I took the way out in 2006, moved up to the Smoky Mountains.
There you go.
That's
There's nothing wrong with that. And I went the other direction, and I'm not Miami, but I'm right across the Everglades in Naples. So same hot and steamy and warm.
Watch out for those African rock pythons taking over down there.
I'll tell you what, they got one the other day, James. I know exactly the spot. I saw it on one of those. For whatever reason, I watch weird stuff on TikTok apparently, but I get all these, the python wranglers, right? And first place, if I'm ever going to get in a fight in a bar, which I'm trying to avoid, but if I was going to, it's not going to be big guys like you and Wes I want with me. I want the small little wrangly guy that fights pythons, because I'm going to tell you, I'll put my money on him all day.
Yeah, I've had my fair share of scraps in my day and had my butt whipped by some little guys. It's size is not always a win.
not when it comes to that. But they saw one, James. They caught one on 41 Tamiami Trail, which you'd know well from being.
I know it well. Yeah.
A mile and a half from my house, and they picked this one up right on the sidewalk. Like a 16-footer, 15 and a half footer.
Yeah. Yeah, for those of you tuning in and you don't realize this, African pythons are large enough to eat a deer whole.
Yes.
They are not to be messed with. And the reason they're such a problem is because they can mate and reproduce with regular pythons and that are in the Everglades. So
yes.
they have, I think now Florida has the Viper Patrol or the Venom Patrol. It's like a unit that's specifically designed to come remove snakes from people's yards.
Yes, it's the real deal. And I the other day, I don't know how we got into pythons, but the other day they found some of the scientists are out floating around on the Everglades, and they said it's eerily quiet because they've ate everything.
Yeah, they've killed off a lot of population of animals that have been there for a long time, a lot of pests that have been there for a long time. I think it's twofold. There's probably an element of people out there that are like, oh, thank gosh, we don't have the kind of bugs we used to have. And on the flip side of that, there are people that are like, this is not good for our ecosystem at all. They are disruptive. Anyway, we could probably talk about snakes forever.
We could not. I'm already creeped out because I already don't like don't like worms because they look like a snake. So
I'm a huge snake fan. I like snakes and spiders and all the creepy stuff.
Okay, there's one. I was going to say I love everything about James Buckley, but now I just found one thing I don't. So if you have snakes at your house, next time I'm in Knoxville, we're going to eat out. We're not going to your house. Just so
no, I don't have any. I don't have any reptiles here. It gets a little cold here.
I don't believe you now. It scares me. I'm not coming. Anyway, so what's you been up to, man? It's been a couple of years at least since we've chatted here. Give us the world of James Buckley.
So on a personal note, the last time that I was on this show, I weighed a little over 300 pounds. So I'm down to about 250 now, which that's a huge difference. Got type 2 diabetes, the whole health scare that people go through in their mid 40s, changed my lifestyle, changed my relationship with food. Definitely made a big difference. I'm very public about it. I think salespeople, especially inside salespeople, we live very sedentary lives. We don't move around enough. Right. So that's what got me into trouble was my eating. I had this addiction to food, and then I didn't do enough physical activity to turn that food into something good. Right. So I put on about 100 pounds in 10 years. And then I ended up having a health issue that I needed to change. So that's the personal side. On the professional side, we're still doing Sell Better. The daily sales show is live every day. We're still selling sponsorships to the show. So if you're selling into sales or sales leadership, and you have a technology that helps people book more meetings, close more deals, manage their team better, forecast, you should sponsor our show. That's literally what we do, is introduce our audience to new technologies, services, and tactics that can help them win. So that's my job now, is to promote and write and host the show. And then I'm also selling on the front end. I'm still just like everybody else in the trenches doing the job every day.
Yeah, there you go. I think one thing about us sales jockeys is we never lose the love for sales, man. It's
I think we get distracted by goals. What do I mean? Most people come in as an SDR. They then become an account executive. And then they say, well, obviously management is the next step. And then we think to ourselves, well, if I'm a manager, I won't actually be selling. Nothing could be further from the truth. Right? I think most managers do actually sell. They join calls. They help with that part of it. Business development manager might be the exception. But I feel like most sales managers do actually show up to calls. They do sell. They are quota carrying reps just like everybody else. The player coach thing is a really big thing right now. But also, you should be doing it. You should be sharpening the skill. You should be adapting. Sales changes so rapidly right now. It's AI and automation have forced our hand into changing the way that we go about our day-to-day routines, how we manage our time, how we write messaging. It's all shifting in a way that I think is sort of a big question mark in the space right now. What industries are safe from the AI invasion? None, really. Right. What industries have yet to adopt modern technology into their flows? I can think of several companies that have 40 and 50,000 employees, but here we are as teams of 10 calling into these companies going, no, you're doing it wrong. Right. Pretty sure we're doing it right. And that's why we are who we are. Right. So there's this disparagement between what's happening in the space and what buyers are needing.
Well, as well. And I'm glad we jumped so quickly into AI, because that's just a topic that's on everybody's radar. Right. And it's when I talk to people, because I'm a novice in it still, and I use it probably more than 90% of people I know, right? And it's funny how people get so scared of it. They feel that it's going to alter their jobs, change their jobs, take their jobs, and speak to that for a minute, because I still aspire to, or believe in, I guess is the word I want, that you're going to lose to AI if you don't grasp and love and learn to use AI, not just because AI is there. You've got to become good at it. You got to use it, because if you don't use it, you are going to get in trouble because of it, I think.
That's interesting. So I never say if you don't use it, you're going to get in trouble. And the reason for that is because I do think that it's industry specific. A construction worker has little to no use for AI in the field, right? So their use is probably if they are using AI, they're using it on a very different level than somebody like us, right? I think if you're in sales, specifically B2B or B2C sales, AI is your friend, right? You need to harness that power and use it to your advantage. And you might not be let go. Your department might not be replaced by AI, but you ain't hitting that leaderboard again without the help, right? That's the nature of what we've done. There are lots of schools of thought, and I think some of them are generational. For example, if you saw the Terminator when you were young, you're probably in the field of AI is taking over. It's going to take everybody's jobs, big fear mongering happening in that generation. There's a whole other generation coming into the workforce that has had access to things like ChatGPT and Claude for the last 2 to 5 years.
Right.
These users are experts at prompting. They build skills and agents that do work for them, with them, so that they don't have to. They are stupid productive. I mean, like, they crush it on activity. How do they do this? What's the difference? There really is no difference other than active user. A person that saw the Terminator, they probably jump into AI occasionally, and they're using it for Google purposes. How do I do this? Where can I find that? Show me a list of these. But a salesperson that is younger and that is coming in with some AI experience already, they are prompting their AI with very specific ICP details. They're prompting it with better messaging iteration. Hey, write me an email that's fun and uplifting and uses this trigger. Hey, find me 10 triggers for 10 accounts that I can reach out to cold that have the following criteria, right? That's the difference. Is one of them is yet to be able to move away from the Google technology that's been around for 30 years, while the other, or 50 years, I guess, at this point. Wow, that sucks to say, right? But then there's the other side of the fence where they're coming in and they're going, no, this is like the thing that's going to make me successful. So those are the two schools of thought that I see. And you can call them old people and young people if you like, but I think it goes further than that. It's not about age. It's about the ability to adopt a technology and use it on a regular basis so that you can find success consistently throughout your week, month, quarter, etc.
That's well said. And, and the thing is, I tell anybody, and again, I'm no expert on AI. I just know what I know.
I don't think anybody's an expert right now.
Well,
anybody claiming to be an expert is already behind.
That's true. Exactly. Because just in the length of time you just took to say that, there's been mountainous changes.
10 apps
already.
were launched. Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly. It's already too late. Whatever you just thought you knew, it's already too late.
Yeah. If you just had an original thought, 10 other people had it for sure.
Exactly. But the thing is dive in and start using that. That's one of my favorite apps on my phone. I mean, I probably use AI more than I use
ChatGPT or Claude?
Yeah. I use Chat right now. I'm going to.
So I think most people find their way to ChatGPT as a first stop, and I think they begin using it at a personal level, and then it gets to know them, right?
Yes.
But then it evolves, and it evolves into a professional use case, and that's where I think Claude is a little more effective. Not just because, and yeah, sure, Claude can do all the personal things that you do with ChatGPT, no question. But Claude has a little bit more on the connector side, a little bit more on the integration side, a little bit more on the depth side, little bit more on the context side, right? Being able to have it see across your email inbox, across your CRM, across your sales enablement technology, right? Being able to build a skill in Claude that takes certain steps before it elicits a response, or builds an agent that actually does the work for you instead of you having to take the time to build a brief or a talk track, for example, right? These are things I've done personally that dramatically help me be more productive throughout my day. Make no mistake, the whole idea behind AI is to enhance what human beings are doing, right? That's the idea. Whether or not we use it for that is completely different.
Exactly. So for the two thoughts that pop in my head here listening to you. One is, let's go hit this one first. If you're not using it at all, if you're the Terminator guy or gal, and you're scared of it's going to take over the world, I'm not going to touch it. Well, guess what? It's here and you're not changing it. So either you learn it and you work with it, but it's still going to do what it's doing and just did 1,000 things over the last 13 seconds that we just talked about, right? Yeah. So you can either grasp it, start learning, or just continue to fall behind to where I look at it a little bit, and I'm very elementary on this, and so is my sense of humor. If you ask my wife, she wanted me to go up a little bit, but I have no chance of that. So there we are. But anyway, it's kind of like you can't teach a kindergartner that has no math at all, high school calculus yet, right? If they don't have the basic math skills. And imagine going from that to calculus in 13 nanoseconds. And I feel like sometimes that's where we are with this whole AI thing. If you don't start doing something, if you're just going to use it to start playing with it a little bit and get some idea what prompt even means, what does any of this interaction happen, you're going to fall so behind so fast that at some point, I'm not saying it's not possible to catch up, because that's the one thing I've learned with my dude is I tell him I don't know what to do to get what I need from you, and he tells me what I need to do to get what I need from him. Right.
Well, you're already hitting the nail where I was gonna hit it with the hammer here, and that is use AI to learn AI. Morgan J. Ingram and I are really good friends, and we just spoke last night about this. There are too many people that look to their leadership and say, teach me how to use Claude, teach me how to use ChatGPT. Go into ChatGPT or Claude and say, I'm trying to do this. Can you help me? How can you help me? It will give you 1,000 different ways that you can use it to help you complete the task that you're trying to do. Here's the key. At the end, when you're done getting the help, say, let's make this a skill. And it will make it what's called an MD file and create a skill for you. At that point, when you go to do that task again, all you have to do is give it the information and then say use/choose the skill that you just created, and it will know exactly what to do. This is using AI to learn AI.
Right.
And that's the world we currently live in. I'll never forget when I started in 2014 as an inside salesperson, Zach Metters was my first business development manager. He told me during my onboarding that I could ask him anything for about 30 days. And after that window, he would start answering me with, let me Google that for you. This was the best training I'd ever received, because I only had to ask him once, and he only had to respond with, let me Google that for you once, before I never asked him for anything again. Instead, I would go and Google it first. Obviously, this is pre-Chat GPT. Right. Because now I can't tell you the last time I Googled something. I Chat GPT or Claude for everything.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. And that's something, right? Because we think that our industry is the industry that AI is impacting the most. We are table stakes for AI. Okay. They want to replace MSN. They want to replace Yahoo. They want to replace Google. That's what they want to replace. Everything else is small potatoes for them. So don't think to yourself, if I don't use AI, it's going to replace me. Instead, think, I should be using AI. Let me find out how it can help me stay relevant, stay up to date, improve my performance, change my results. There's 1,000 other questions to ask that aren't, should I? It's, how should I?
Right. Well, and what you just hit on, I think is so cool, because the other day I was screwing around and was going back and forth, right, with Chester. That's what I call mine. And I'm finally getting frustrated. I said, Chester, we're not connecting. I don't understand because you're not understanding, or I'm not understanding. I says, you got to help me. And he goes, okay, well, you didn't ask me the right prompt. Here's what you need to ask me. And he told me exactly what to ask him.
Yep.
It's like he had it there all the time.
But here's the thing you're missing, Randy. When you do this, you have to say, after he says, here's how you ask me, you have to say back to Chester, from now on, I'm going to give you this, and I want you to take that action every time.
Yes.
And then it will make it a rule. And then you won't have to say to Chester anymore, we're not connecting. This happens in AI a lot. Just today, I was like, find me 30 companies that fit the following criteria. And I was very specific. Every 8 companies, it was like, I have 8. Would you like me to continue? Hey, I found 8 more. Would you like me to continue? Finally, I was like, oh my God, why are you asking me to continue? Finish the task that I asked you to finish. And it did. Yeah. You have to be so explicit with it. We fill in the blank with our brain. Our minds fill the words in that we think are implied. But the AI has no context. It doesn't know unless you teach it. Okay. So that's where you say things like, make this a skill. And then if you're working inside that skill and you're using that skill, you've got to occasionally, after you make changes, you have to occasionally say, update my skill for this. And it will make all the changes to that skill. This takes time to learn. Yes. It takes time to get into the routine. But I guarantee if you start taking those steps, not only does your performance improve, but your AI learns what you want at a faster rate. And therefore, the results are far greater. I can share my screen and show you all of these different, let me share this really quick. So I'm going to throw this back here. I think it goes backstage, but I just kind of want to share this. Wes, would you mind throwing this up on the screen for me? All right, so everybody can see this, right? This is me making my list. So first of all, this was my original prompt. Now keep in mind, it already has the skill built in, right? So this was my original prompt for today, right here. I got to keep going up. It takes a little time. So again, remember that I change these frequently, and then I update the skill. So here's the original prompt. Give me 30 more, right? So then it knows what it's looking for. But I noticed that it was listing off a bunch of things that I didn't need. So I was like, hey, they don't need to have all of these things. I just need them to be able to do one of these things. Again, make it specific, right? So then here we go. It starts listing. Here it is. So it tells me things it's skipping because I have guardrails in place where I'm already a partner here. So I don't need this. So it's like, hey, I'm skipping it. This is me telling it, yo, if you're going to skip something or flag something, I don't need to know about it. Right. You don't have to put that on the screen, right? Make it efficient. So it's like, okay, I got it. So then it goes back and it makes the list. That's 11 confirmed. I need 19 more. Want me to continue? Why would you need to ask me this? Of course I want you to continue. You did 11. I asked you for 30, right? And then I notice, wait a minute. This is finding sales training companies. I don't need sales training companies. Stop. Right? So I stop it and I say, no, I don't want training companies. I want products. Please start over and find products. And look at it right here. Oh, you're right. My apologies. This is language that your AI uses when you've made a mistake. Gotcha. It's not, don't get frustrated, right? It's you making the mistake in the prompts. It's not Claude. It's not Chat GPT. But once again, here's where I am on verified. I need to keep running. This is a partial list. Why would you give me a partial list? Right? Yes. Would you like me to keep? Yes, keep going. Right? Again, third time, I'm like, keep going. Right? Makes the list. Here's where I get frustrated. Stop asking me if I want you to complete it. Just complete the task. Got it. Down here, same thing. Would you like me to complete this? Oh my God, stop asking me. Right? Like, this goes on and on and on. The AI is not stupid. It's not missing something. It's not faulting out. It's that it needs confirmation consistently that it's doing the right thing, or it makes things up. It does something you didn't ask it to do, and you end up with bad information. Right. So this comes with time. It's not something you learn, right away, but pay very close attention to what you're getting back from AI and look back at your prompt Ask yourself which changes you need to make to the prompt so that that doesn't come again. And how do you save it? Can you save this as a skill, or can you remember this in the future? Or, hey, let's make this a rule. Those are things you have to start saying to your AI solutions.
Right. Right. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of that lately. And actually, he's asked me before, should we make this a rule? Yes, we should, please. Yes.
And then from that point on, it'll tell you if you violate the rule. It'll be like, hey, I got to flag this.
Right.
You're violating your own rule here.
You know, it's funny because you say that, because I had that just the other day. He says, do you want to override our own rule that we accepted together? Yes, I would, please, on this one, but don't change the rule.
That's right. Don't change the rule, but this is an exception. This is how we have to talk to it.
Right. And so it comes back and it gives me what I'm looking for. We had a great conversation. And then I reminded it at the end again, please, thank you for this information. This was beneficial. Do not change the initial rule. And it says, and I don't know what it said, but basically, yes, I got it. Right.
Yeah.
Hey friends, it's Randy here, the owner of Source One Marketing, ibuyfromrandy.com. And I got to tell you, we are proud to sponsor the Building Wins Live podcast and vlogcast. We have 4+ decades in this beautiful industry of supplying materials, supplying services, supplying marketing assistance, and we just are proud to sponsor Building Wins Live and some great guests that we have every single week, many of them from our beloved industry and many of them from outside the industry that still bring some incredible content. So make sure to check us out at ibuyfromrandy.com and let us know what you think about this show. For now, thanks for checking this out. Let's get back to the show.
I'll tell you something else that's taking over, and you've got to use this if you haven't started using it yet. Are you guys familiar with Whisper Flow? Dude, okay. So again, I'm going to share my screen. Wes, I just need you to put this up so people can see it. I think this is amazing. This right here changed everything about how I was working in my AI solution. So this is Whisper Flow. I believe it is WISPR Flow. Anyway, look it up. It's a dictation tool. And what it does is it's not like text to talk. You know, in text to talk, you have to say, you know, hi, Randy, comma, new paragraph. So, you know, how are you doing today? Question mark, right? And you have to say these things. You don't have to say any of that with Whisper Flow. You simply hold the function key down and you talk. So right now I'm at 168 words per minute. I use this I've done this in 710 AI prompts, right? I've done it in 528 work messages. I use it in multiple applications. This thing allows you to hold the button down and talk to your computer, talk to your AI. It saves so much time typing. And you think to yourself, well, it's just typing. No. This is the difference in sending 100 cold messages out to qualified prospects and sending 60. That other 40 would have not gone out because of my typing time.
Right. And so you find this better than, because I will use on ChatGTP, I'll use the little microphone and I just go on a ramble about stuff. But I
think this is way better than that.
Way better. Okay.
That as well. That's helpful. I'm not going to say it doesn't help, but this right here is changing my world.
So James, how is it different from the actual talking to your AIs?
So one, it picks up on my tones, right? So it uses the correct punctuation. It grammatically writes things efficiently. So when I start a new paragraph, because it's a new idea, it starts a new paragraph in text, right? I don't have to go in and put my cursor and click it and then hit enter twice to get the space. Right? I don't have to say question mark, period, comma, new paragraph. I don't have to say any of that, right? None of that stuff happens. I just talk to it. If I stutter or I stammer, it removes that stuff automatically. So I don't have to go back and delete a couple of because I stuttered a little bit, right?
And I've also noticed that when you're using the talk feature, a lot of times it will cut you off. I'm assuming this doesn't.
No, this will not. As long as your finger is holding the function key down, it's listening, understanding, transcribing, and putting it in the correct grammatical form. Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. I will let you guys get back.
No. If you got something else, please feel free, because you use AI a lot too. You want to stay on and chat.
Yeah, highly recommend Whisper Flow. If anybody out there has not started using this, for the love of everything holy, go try this. It changes your life. I guarantee.
Awesome.
I'm going to try that tonight, because what you just said, I've found I use the talk too because it's better for me. Because you're right, typing takes forever. You make mistakes, and I just when I get on a ramble, it's just easier for me to just start blasting out what I want to say.
That's right. And I'll tell you, Randy, I'm the typo messiah. Like more typos in my messages than you could possibly imagine. You can't sell by the screen. I'm 6'2", 250. My hands are enormous. And I use this little tiny machine here to type this. Like, you know how many times I crush multiple buttons at a time? It's absurd. Oh, yeah. So this helps me a lot.
Well, what I like what you just said too is what Wes just brought up has happened to me, and it's so frustrating. Is I'm not looking at the screen. I'm walking around. I'm talking, going on some ramble, and all of a sudden I look down and I don't know when the hell it shut off, but it stopped recording, and I got to go shit. And I got to start over again. Where did I leave off? And so I like that. So that's good. I'm gonna play with that tonight.
It's remarkable, man.
That's awesome. So one maybe question that I have, being an old sales guru that you are, we've spent years doing this stuff. Where does the personal part? So I know a lot of people feel like, well, I'm going to lose all that personal relationship stuff. I'm going to not be the relationship guy anymore. I know the answer to that in my mind, but I'd love to hear what you think about that.
So when you say personal, what is it that you're referring to specifically? Are you talking about your voice being represented inside of a message?
Correct.
Is it
that's that in technology? I'm going to do this in two phases. That, yes, I think people worry about that. I've pretty much overcome most of that in anything that I use, but I'd love to hear your take. But secondarily, I think people worry that they're going to allow themselves to be this techno geek guy with all this AI stuff and quit like showing up and shaking hands and bro hugging a guy and going and having a pizza and beer with them, because it's all going to be all technological based. And that's only if you allow it to happen, in my opinion, because you hit earlier on that I loved is this is a tool for us. We don't have to change being James or Randy. We just get to amplify it, and we get to make it sharper, quicker, faster, easier, right?
Well, yes, and right. And because I'm a salesperson, yes, and is a pretty typical response for me. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to put this up for everybody to see. You're talking about losing yourself. Wes, can you throw this up? Thank you. So this is an email out to Abe, right? At a company that I'm talking to. I would love to do work with. This entire message was written by AI, right? And you can see that it includes our entire history. And it even includes me meeting the former CEO at an event.
Right.
Life got away from us both, but I really want to continue the conversation. Right? That is an extremely personal opener with some deep history. And I didn't write that.
Right.
But the AI solution I use, Claude, it crawls all of my previous contact information, all of our history with these companies that I'm talking to, and it writes accordingly based on that information. So when you say you're losing some of yourself, I say, what part of the self are you referring to? Because this reads like I wrote it, because I trained my AI to write like I write. And I've corrected it in not using language I don't use countless times. For example, it has this terrible habit when you use a trigger of saying things like, saw your post on da-da-da-da-da, and then it'll go, it stopped me in my tracks. No, it didn't, right? Like, let's not lie to people. So you take that stuff out. You go, hey, thanks, Claude. This is a great email, but I don't talk like that.
Right.
Can you remove this and this and this and don't use that kind of language anymore? And it will remember not to use it. And that keeps the you in the message. The second thing is, you're going to get pumped out all types of messages, okay? Read it. Don't just send it. Don't copy and paste it. Actually read it. And where can you add a little bit of you in there? Where can you make the change that kind of rolls off the tongue like you speak? When you read it out loud, does it sound like you? If it does, send that message. But if it doesn't, kind of go back and see if you can narrow that down to something that sounds like you. The you is your responsibility. The AI can't be responsible for the you. It's already responsible for the work that you are supposed to be doing.
Well, exactly. And you know what, you hit on something a second ago that was, I think, very, very important is the email you just showed us. I've had many times where I've used it to write an email, for example, and what you just said is so valuable. It comes in, it writes what I said I wanted, and it offers these suggestions. Like, like you said, you did talk about this and this one time, 3 months ago. This might fit. You know what, Chester, you're right. Rewrite it and put that in there and let's see how it looks. Right. You know what? I like it, but I think we need to tone that down a bit for this. Yep. You know what, Randy? I agree. Let's read. Right. I mean, you have those conversations to where, and folks, it's all that is within a minute and a half. Right. I mean, it's not days of hours of doing that. It's a quick look. I don't like that. I like this. I agree. I don't agree. Change this. Soften up my tone. That's not quite Randy. I wouldn't, like you said, I've gone through and had him memorized a lot of things. Like you said, I don't say that ever. I never say that ever in my life. I'll never say that ever in my life. So please remove that from the vernacular of Randy forever. Right. And I've had a couple times where it's forgot.
It's not a perfect solution. No solution is.
But it's funny is when I remind it, it goes, you are right. I've just made that change again. And it admitted sometimes AI is not perfect, isn't it? LOL.
Yeah. It will admit it. It's frustrating, I think, at times when we say like, oh, it constantly makes mistakes. No solution that you've ever purchased. I don't care how much money you spent on it. You could have bought Salesforce. That's a massive expenditure. John Barrows just did this interview with a company. I can't remember the name of the guy that was on the show, but he was talking about how in 2 months they vibe coded their own in-house CRM and abandoned Salesforce and saved $600,000 in cost.
Wow.
This is what I mean when I say, and I don't know if you guys know about vibe coding, but like being able to use a product like Lovable. If you're not familiar with Lovable, I highly recommend it if you're a developer. And being able to say, I use Salesforce, but it's too expensive. Can you build me something that's lightweight internally that we can use instead of Salesforce? And I want it to look like this. And you give it a screenshot of something. And then Lovable will just build that for you in 8 seconds. Right?
Amazing.
That is the beginning. And then they spend 2 months refining it, and then they completely move off of Salesforce, and they save $600,000 annually.
Wow.
I don't know who that CFO is, but they're hugging the people that made that decision.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right? So when you consider that, just that one example, and then ask yourself, is AI changing things? Absolutely. But it's not always changing things in the way that we think. Mm-hmm. Right? Sometimes you're building something with AI that saves you money. Sometimes you're using AI to be more productive. None of those things are going to be perfect. I guarantee that company will eventually hit a point where they're like, oh, Salesforce did this.
Right.
We don't have that in our solution. But you know what they're going to go do? They're going to go retool that solution internally, and it's going to cost them a fraction of what it would cost them to go back to Salesforce.
Exactly.
Right. And that right there is a great example of like the different use cases that AI is putting in front of us, that we can take that opportunity and change things. But it doesn't mean it's going to be perfect every time. There's always going to be, I've heard it said before, are you working to a point where there's no more work to be done? That point does not exist.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. You know, a theory that I use sometimes is at some point done is better than perfect, because perfect is an ongoing pipe dream in the distance, right?
My CEO will say perfect is the enemy of good.
Yes, exactly. You know, one last thing, and you've been very nice with your time here. One thing I want to touch on, because we sort of wandered into the AI discussion, which, you know, I knew when we started talking, we'd go wherever we went, which is great.
Yeah.
I heard it told before, and I found it to be so accurate. So I'd love your opinion. Is never, and there's probably never a long time, but never take AI's first answer. I've learned to constantly push back. Usually, is that the best? Do we have some other options? Because I found many a times, especially in writing like an email or some small text, it'll give you this generic thing that it thinks you want to hear. And I'm not trying to think like AI thinks, but at the end of the day, we could come up with something better if you push back a little bit.
So I want to agree with you, but right.
Okay.
Again, yes and
but
right?
yes, but
yeah, yes, but yes and. If you create skills or agents that have guardrails, you will not see those generic messages anymore. So that's an important step to take. Learn how to do that. The second thing is iteration is an enormous function of AI for salespeople that send messaging. But when you say never take AI's first answer, I think it depends on what you're doing. If you're asking for a fact, chances are pretty high that it's going to be able to confirm the fact. That first answer is going to be good. But if you're reaching out to a very specific person at a very specific company with a very specific trigger, yeah, chances are good you're going to want 2, maybe 3 different iterations of that first run because you're looking for a specific vibe in the message. You're looking for a specific flow, a specific structure, specific data to be presented. So while I agree that you should be iterating when it comes to messaging, sometimes you've got to know the difference between something that needs to be redone. So you want to check out sellbetter.xyz. That gosellbetter.com is definitely not accurate. But I will say that the use case matters when it comes to what you're going to take. Am I going to take the first answer on who owns Amazon? Yeah, Jeff Bezos. Thank you. Right? Mm-hmm. Absolutely correct. Right. But am I going to send this first message that came back to this Fortune 500 company's CRO? Probably not. I'm going to read it. I'm going to have 5 different versions. I'm going to provide my AI with some good stuff to add to that email. I'm going to even maybe mention a couple other people and say, hey, ask them if this is the person to talk to, right? Or tell them I'm reaching out to this person as well because I'm about to send them another email. Right. There's 1,000 different ways to iterate. And that's the part that I think salespeople need to embrace. Iteration, polishing, right? These things are essential if you're going to use AI for messaging. It's not okay to just copy and paste blindly without reading a message, right? Just like if you're going to send a link in a message, hope it works, right? The last thing you want to do is send someone a link that's a prospect for a big account that could make your day, and then boom, at 404 message. You just lost credibility with that human forever, and you haven't even had a conversation yet.
Right. Exactly.
Right. So
beautiful.
That's my 10 cents on do I take what comes at my way first from an AI solution?
I mean, that's great. I love it. I appreciate the feedback. So as we wind down, my man, Wes loves the SAQ. I've never heard of it before, and he always pops it up because I forget half the time to do it. But in the world of James Buckley, what's an SAQ? What's a question you just wish, whether Randy today would have asked and never did, or just when you meet somebody in the street, somebody at the local coffee shop, you get to talking, do you just say, God, I just wish they'd ask this question?
So I'm a big nerd, and you can't tell from this, but I'm covered head to toe in tattoos that are Middle-earth Lord of the Rings tattoos.
Okay.
And I wish people would talk to me more about that because I am such a nerd when it comes to Tolkien. I'm a member of the Tolkien Society. We actively preach the gospel, so to speak, that is the Silmarillion and the other books that were written. So I wish that people did ask me more about that. I don't put the books behind me because I have like a shrine with all my books upstairs. That's where I do most of my reading outside. But I will say that people should ask about hobbies more often to the people they talk with. They should ask about, what do you do in your spare time? They should ask me, when you were growing up, what were the hobbies you had that are different today? When you get into people's likes and people's passions, a connection gets made that's deeper than surface level. And I think more salespeople, more people in general, should be curious about what other people are into. It's a good learning experience, but it also creates connection.
Exactly. Right back to that building relationships thing, right? That's
Rapport matters.
Exactly.
If you don't have rapport, you have no gateway to a relationship.
Exactly. Spot on, man. Hey, buddy, as always, appreciate chatting with you, man.
It's been a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Anytime. You're always welcome. All right, man. Cheers. There we go. A little AI talk with the guy himself, James Buckley. And he's you can tell he's energetic and a brilliant guy, and I'm glad he came on to chat with us for a while today. And so, I'm an older guy, a little, and haven't been in this new tech stuff for a long, long time, like some of the younger people. But take James' word for it and take my word for it. Man, you got to dig in. Dig in right now. Learn something tonight. That'll help you be better. For now, keep loving what you're doing as you love. That's what we're doing here. Wes and I do it every week on Building Wins Live. And hey, go make today your best day ever. Until tomorrow. Cheers, friends.